Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. My name is BrendenPlayz, and it's been a pretty big week for the BrendenPlayz channel this week. We had, of course, the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and we also launched a new streaming series, something we've never done before, and we're going to be playing TEW, Total Extreme Wrestling, on a stream series, playing WWE 2009, so a couple of new things that's been happening, obviously, and that's been really exciting for me. Survivor Series was a big show, and of course we streamed that one, so it's been good to stream again a little bit, and it's been fun. This week on the show, we'll talk a little bit about that, but also talk about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. A few things have been going on, of course, including Broken Matt officially debuting this week. Enzo and Nia Jax, is that going to be a thing now? We saw Paige's first match back, and over on SmackDown, potentially Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens could be getting quote-unquote fired. So, you know, what's going on there? And plenty of your questions to answer as well. So lots to talk about this week. And I think Clash of Champions might be next week. So not this week, but next week. So, yeah, we're getting close to the next WWE pay-per-view and the last one of the year. So, it's never really great, I suppose, the last one of the year. But it'll be interesting to see where and what they will produce on that show. But before we get into the W chat, we'll kind of recap a little bit of what's been going on the BrendenPlayz channel. We'll start off with a brand new Total Extreme Wrestling series. Something I've always wanted to do was stream me playing TEW. Now, I make the videos on it, but I always thought Total Extreme Wrestling was more of a stream game. A game where I could sit back, chill, relax, just book some shows, you know, make some, you know, sign some new wrestlers and, you know, make some storylines, do everything you do in that game, but have your input, have your feedback live instantaneously so I can make decisions on the go that you guys recommend. So I always felt as though TEW was going to be a perfect game to stream. I just never really got around to doing it. I decided to do the video series with TNA 2006, and that's still going to keep going. In fact, I'm probably after I finish this podcast, I'm going to go ahead and make a new episode. But it's been really exciting to start something different. I always have 2 or maybe even 3 Total Extreme Wrestling saves going at one time. So I always have the video series of TNA. But I've been looking to do a second one. I've tried a few different things. It just hasn't caught on. You know, I tried doing a WWF in 1994. So trying... maybe it was 1992. I'm not sure. It might have been 94, I think. So trying to, like, stop WWE from going downhill. Back then, I tried trying my own promotion in 1997, creating my own new promotion, signing, you know, potential stars of tomorrow, trying to compete on the level of ECW and WCW and things like that, and it just wasn't really enjoying it, just wasn't getting into it. I recently have tried... I've tried many times to do a 2017 or a current day save file, where I try and make TNA good again, try and save TNA. But the problem with playing in 2017 is just there is no talent coming through that I know of that I can look forward to getting or build up. I have to try and make my own talent, or try and find someone who's been around for a while, hasn't had many opportunities, or try and utilize some established names. There's no one I can really bring in that's new, that's, you know, we know is going to be good or exciting, so that's always a bit of a downer. And plus, everybody outside of WWE doesn't really interest me. There's not many guys that really interest me outside of WWE, and if there is, they're older. They're older, and, you know, you can't really book your company around them. Well, you wouldn't anyways. It would be smart to do so. So I've always struggled getting into a 2017 save. Probably the most I've done is maybe a year's worth of that, or maybe 6 months worth of, I think I did GFW, so when it was that, and booking that, and it was okay, but it just couldn't compete on the level of WWE, just for many various reasons, so I never really got into that. And then probably about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I started doing a 2012 save file, and I was enjoying that. It was booking WWE in 2012, the year that I started rewatching wrestling. I stopped watching wrestling in 2008, and I started watching at the beginning of 2012, so I think it was midway through 2012 was this save file, and yeah, I mean, it was okay. I was enjoying it, but I kind of messed up. I lost my TV deal for Raw because I got on a network that was really, really good, but they had really high expectations, and I just couldn't keep meeting those expectations week after week after week, unless I really wanted to have, your John Cena's versus CM Punk happen every week. I just couldn't hit that expectations. I needed to get 90 rated shows just about every single week to be able to do that, so I just couldn't do it. So I lost my TV deal for Raw for the American market, and you lose that, you're screwed pretty much. And I couldn't get another one for another whole year. And I just said, nope, stuff it, I'll stop. So I wanted to do a 2011 save. I thought that was going to be exciting, maybe doing, the CM Punk, booking that whole era. But I couldn't find one. They didn't have, there's one that's currently being made, a new mod, but it's going to take some time. And there's nothing. There's nothing from 2010, no others from 2011. There's barely one from 2012, and there's barely one from 2009. I managed to find one that started in November 2009, and we went from there. So that's what we're doing on the new series, 2009 WWE, a year that I did not watch. I didn't watch 2010 either. I went and watched Survivor Series 2009, which is our first pay-per-view of our TW series. I watched the real-life version of it, and I thought it was okay. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was probably on the level, or if not better, than a WWE pay-per-view that you would see now. Probably is just as good as Survivor Series of this year. So yeah, I thought it was fine. And I guess maybe I've heard so many people talk about how 2009 was really, really bad. It sucked big time. So I never really went out of my way to watch it. So many people told me that 2009 is one of the worst years ever. And looking at probably, looking at some of the storylines that I had going on, I can agree. There's some things that I thought were cool, but for the most part, I kind of steered clear from it. And 2010 and 2011, I didn't really watch much either. 2011, I only really watched the CM Punk stuff. So those 3-year period, I didn't really watch. So kind of utilizing the talents that were on my roster was kind of different for me. Booking those pay-per-views in that era was also new to me. So it offered a new and also exciting challenge of trying to make 2009 good. Because WWE, in that period, you'd say that's when they really started to decline. Probably 2008 was good, and that was the start of the PG era halfway through that year. And then after that, they started to decline. So I guess one of the challenges of my playthrough is trying to stop that decline from happening and getting that next generation through and making them exciting and getting them over. So yeah, so far it's been really, really fun. We've had 2 episodes that we've streamed so far go up on the channel. I need to find a specific time. Now, definitely on the weekend, I would love to stream it for a number of hours. So I'll try and get that arranged. We've had a really good turnout. We've had over 100 people turn out for the streams back to back, which was really surprising. I didn't expect many. I was actually honestly expecting about 30 people to show up. So to get 100, and I think we peaked at maybe 130, 140, that was really, really surprising, but pleasantly surprising. I was really happy about that. So it's given me some good motivation to keep on streaming that series and keep doing that. And I'm actually really excited to keep on playing it. And I actually booked a few extra shows off stream here today. And the first time you'll see me stream it again for episode number 3, I will be doing the Survivor Series pay-per-view. So we'll have the first pay-per-view on the next episode. So we are up to that now, which I think will be great. I think the first pay-per-view will be interesting. We're going to be ironing out a lot of the kinks and trying to somehow muster up a good Survivor Series considering who we've got and what we've been working with. But I'm pretty confident we can do something good. So that's that, and I've been really, really enjoying that. So if you haven't already, check out the new TW series. You'll be seeing plenty of it. I know the videos that you see on my channel are very, very long, and that's because I'm streaming it. I stream it for 2 or 3 hours, so it's going to be long. But I leave it up there. If you want to watch it, that's great. If you want to skip through it and just kind of see me book the shows or whatever, that's fine. It's all there. You can do whatever you want to do with it. If you want to skip it, or watch little bits, that's fine. If you want to watch the whole thing, amazing. That would be really great, and I'm sure you'll definitely enjoy it. If you love TW, I think you'll enjoy this stream. If you don't love TW or you don't know much about it, check this stream out because you'll have to watch for a while, but you will get that chance to kind of learn how the game is set up, how it all works, and especially the setup video. You got the 3 hours of me setting up my whole game, doing every little detail of my game before I go ahead and start it. So if you're looking to start or looking for a bit of advice or want to see how I do it, that's certainly one to check out, and you kind of get that chance to see what I'm doing there. So Yeah, definitely check that out. I'll try and come up with an appropriate time to stream it every single week. It's just so difficult because, if I stream in the morning my time, my UK fans won't be able to watch it because they should be asleep. If I stream it at nighttime my time, the UK fans, some of them will be able to check at school. It'll just be ending or start, or getting close to ending for them. Or, they'll be at school, and the US fans are sleeping or just starting school or whatever. So it's difficult. It's really difficult, and I can't find the appropriate time. Anytime during the middle of the day for me, there's no chance. US is sleeping, UK sleeping. The only time I can really stream and have majority of my viewers awake is, 7 or 8 a.m. for me in the morning. Really early, really early for me, and I'm not a morning person. It's really difficult to do for me, so... Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to kind of get a time that's going to please everybody. I don't think I ever can. Unfortunately, Australia is just such a weird time, on a weird time zone compared to the US and UK. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't, it just doesn't gel well. So it's never going to be great, never going to be ideal for me unless I really kind of schedule my life around those time zones, which I have done in the past, but I don't really want to do right now. But the morning streams to suit the US fans may be what I'll probably end up going with if I really want to get on the schedule. But so far, it's been the UK fans that have turned out for the streams. So 100 plus of those, and probably some US and some Aussies as well. So shout out to you guys. And some people from maybe in Europe or whatever have turned out for the streams in the last couple times. So I really, really appreciate that. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be tough, but I'll try and come up with a schedule that's going to suit everybody. Or try to, and go from there. Unfortunately, I'll probably have to sacrifice my own sleep or something like that to make it happen. But we've got to do what we got to do, and if we want to make the series fun and exciting for everyone to watch, then we might have to get up early. As well as TEW, we've also had the Survivor Series pay-per-view, which had another great turnout. One of our biggest live viewership ever. We had at one point over 1,000 people turn out to the stream on YouTube. I think we might have peaked at maybe 1,100 people on YouTube, and I think we had to have 50 or so on Twitch or something like that, which is great. Obviously, Twitch, it's really one or the other, but we more so kind of obviously YouTube's where it's at because we focus on YouTube because everyone gets that subscription. Everyone who's subscribed to the channel gets that notification or sees it in their sub box when they come on, so they know it's there. They don't have to go to another platform to kind of look at it. If they want to watch it on Twitch, they can. We do it on both. We give the viewer the option. But for the most part, YouTube is generally where most people do watch, and that's where the chat does go crazy. So lots and lots of fun there. And to be honest, I think it might be one of our most successful pay-per-views ever in terms of audience reaction. I think I have never really seen a pay-per-view of mine receive such a positive reaction ever. Which is really strange. Normally, there's always something that people didn't like. The finish of a match, or the ending of the show, or this title didn't change hands. I'm upset. For the most part, looking through the comments, it's been all really positive. And everyone's really said, hey, I really enjoyed it. Love the storyline. Hey, I wanted the NWO to win, but Raw won anyway. But Raw winning was still cool. So even though they may have not got the result they were looking for, they still really enjoyed it. The matches, they enjoyed that. So overall, like I said, it may be our most successful stream in terms of viewership and our most successful pay-per-view in terms of fan reaction. Obviously not in terms of views and things like that, but that's fine. I don't really mind it. If we don't get a lot of views, but the audience really enjoys what they're watching, that means more to me. I'm happy to see that so many people enjoyed the stream, and we got nearly 20,000 views on the video, which is excellent. Very happy about that. And over 1,000 people live, which is insane. I think we've only done 1,000 people live twice. I want to say we definitely got 1,000, I think, for the Rumble. I'm not sure for WrestleMania. I don't think we did. I think I was a little disappointed that night. And yeah, for Survivor Series. So only a couple times we've hit that big mark, and it's pretty crazy that we were able to do that. And I'm really, really happy that we did. And I thank everyone who came out to the stream, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next up is TLC, and we've got some big matches already planned. If you haven't already checked out the new episode of Raw, please do so. But it was announced on that episode of Raw that we are doing a Universal Championship tournament, and the finale of the tournament will take place at TLC in a TLC match, so that's going to be really exciting, and some big names in that tournament. So lots to look forward to in the coming weeks on BrendenPlayz just before the Christmas period, so we're trying to step it up a little bit just before, I guess, we go on a mini break over Christmas. But that's everything to do with my channel. We'll get into Monday Night Raw and the WWE discussion now, and we start things off with Raw. And we'll open up the discussion with Broken Matt. And obviously, last week it was Matt Hardy, teasing that he would become broken. It's now official. And this week, I want to kind of talk about my thoughts. Last week we kind of talked about, can this gimmick be successful? Can, the WWE get the most out of this? Will the WWE give Matt Hardy the creative freedom to make this work? And the first signs coming from this week is that, yes, they are going to give Matt Hardy some creative freedom. It looks as though he's really kind of doing all the same traits that he had from his TNA run. He's, got the same kind of catchphrases, talking the same kind of outfit, same kind of look. So everything you would expect from Broken Matt is in this character. Now they are calling him Woken Matt. So Woken Matt Hardy, clearly that's probably for more of a legal reason, so they can own that that trademark of Woken Matt. And if Matt Hardy does leave WWE, he can go back to using Broken Matt on the indies anyways. It's probably a win-win for Matt Hardy. He gets, Woken Matt, he gets what he wants, WWE gets what they want, and if Matt Hardy leaves, he can still do the gimmick, Broken Matt, same thing. So yeah, so it's probably a bit of a win-win for both. It's fine. And look, Woken is fine. I mean, I like Broken, but Woken is fine. And like we said last week, they're giving him the perfect opponent to take on first up, which is Bray Wyatt. When Matt was in TNA, a lot of people wanted to see the Hardys versus the Wyatt family in that, in a deletion match or whatever they call it. That type of scenario, I think that would have been a really good rivalry. Now, obviously, it's just Bray Wyatt now and Matt Hardy. There's no Jeff, there's no Wyatt family. So, they could still definitely do that type of thing. I mean, we don't want it to be like a House of Horrors repeat, which, if WWE does really get their hands all over this, it probably would be if they would try to do something like that. But, look, the signs are pretty positive. Matt Hardy was getting a good reaction. In fact, I think he got a great reaction when he appeared as his new self. So, Bray Wyatt, though, really got no reaction, and there's no real reason to give Bray Wyatt a reaction. He's been quite poor for a while now. They've just booked him so badly, and his performances have been, pretty subpar. Whereas Matt, it's something different, something exciting, and now it's something that people have been looking forward to seeing for a while, and they gave him a good enough reaction, I think. So, I think WWE will kind of gauge to see his audience reactions, but also his merchandise sales. If Matt Hardy is moving a lot of merchandise, I'm sure that will encourage the WWE to keep on pushing this character and keep doing something with him. But if they are disappointed in his merch sales and his reactions, then don't be surprised within the next couple of months that this character starts to get fizzled out a little bit. And potentially when Jeff is back, then things will go back to normal. But if Woken Matt is successful, then who knows? Sky's kind of the limit, isn't it? Look, he is older, so I don't think he's ever going to win the world title or be on that caliber. But I think in the mid-card, doing a few things with, various guys, having some good rivalries, I think could be solid for the younger guys he'll probably work with, and also Matt himself. And I think the crowd will enjoy it. So Matt Hardy's always had a great ability to get an audience reaction. You look across the years of Matt Hardy, throughout his entire career in the WWE, he's always been one guy to get a good reaction. No matter how badly he's been booked, or, what he's doing, what kind of, storyline he's in, Matt Hardy always does get good audience reactions, so he's always found a way to connect with the audience in some kind of way. Now, I don't think he was on, a Jeff Hardy level, but he certainly was able to get a strong mid-card audience reaction. And at some points, maybe even better than that. Maybe even at some points he was over enough to be in a world championship hunt. But WWE just unfortunately never saw Matt Hardy as that type of guy. They always thought Jeff, definitely, but Matt, not so much. Matt did get the ECW, but world title. But, look, Chavo Guerrero got that too. And Didn't Ezekiel Jackson get that as well? Some real duds got that. So that doesn't really mean all that much. But yeah, I mean, look, I like what I'm seeing so far. We obviously need to see more. See Matt Hardy in the ring, probably new entrance music. The only real problem I have is I didn't like the fact that they did this week. You know, I would have had some vignettes for maybe 2 weeks of Matt Hardy. You know, maybe pulling his hair out a little bit, or you know, just some things that started to show that Matt was changing. You know, Matt Hardy was, you know, looking at him, you know, tapes of him of his old self, or you know, just a few different subtle things that, you know, that you could recognize that he was slowly, you know, changing and slowly becoming this character. Whereas last week he was just Matt Hardy. This week, boom, he's Woken. So it's a too big of a change, and it's happened so quickly. I think that's my only real concern with it. But it got a good reaction, and people know the characters, so there's no real need, I suppose, to do a slower change to it. But to me, there's a lot of fans that don't know this. So if you're someone who hasn't seen this character before, you watch Matt last week, and then he turns into this week, into Woken Matt this week, that's a huge change. And you'd be going, whoa, what just happened to Matt Hardy? So I would have liked to have seen a couple of weeks, you know, preferably I would have liked to have seen a month, but we know WWE doesn't drag things out that long. A couple of weeks just to slowly build towards this change in a Matt Hardy character. You know, get a lot of things that, you know, Matt Hardy, that was a part of the Broken character. I don't know a lot about the Broken gimmick to really comment on the specifics, you know, but just some things that you would associate with that character in the vignettes. Moving along now, Jason Jordan, more airtime for him. He started off Raw again, had the match against Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe's involved, so a bit of a three-way situation between these three, I should say. And Jason Jordan, look, him and Roman Reigns had a good match, but Jason Jordan again, he's just got these whiny promos, his voice very whiny. To me, he's definitely showing signs of turning heel, and I feel like it's coming. If it's not coming, then God help us, because he's certainly playing off like it is. Faking the injury every week that he's doing, and, you know, backing out when he can. He's certainly coming off as a heel more and more and more, and eventually I'm sure he will turn heel on Kurt Angle and will not be very happy with him. Maybe Jason turns on Angle, we don't know. But something like that's coming. But having him work with Reigns and Joe, I don't mind that. It helps him. But I don't, you know, it's Reigns and Joe are just so far ahead of Jason Jordan, it's not funny. You know, both guys get great reactions, whether positive or negative. Joe's reactions are certainly improving. Jason Jordan's getting nothing. And look, I think Jason Jordan's a talented guy. I think pushing him is a good idea. I definitely think he deserves an opportunity to show what he can do, but the crowd just aren't reacting. And I think the more I see him, the more heel that he's acting, the more I'm liking it. I think he could be that, you know, that young kid who's trying to make his name, but no one really, you know, thinks he's any good, and just, you know, he's that annoying kid that wants to play, but nobody wants, you know, but you let him play, but you don't really want him to, and you know he sucks, but you just let him tag along anyway. He reminds me of that. And, you know, he's got daddy to give him everything he wants. He's, you know, he's that spoiled kid, and eventually that's going to run out, and eventually when those opportunities stop coming from him, for him by Kurt, I'm sure that's when a turn may happen. But if that's their plan, I don't mind that at all, and I think they're doing a decent enough job. But they certainly do like him, and they're giving him more and more airtime. So the push from Jason Jordan is certainly not going away. Certainly not going away for Enzo either. He is still the Cruiserweight champion, and they're starting something there with Nia Jax and Enzo this week. Nia Jax coming up to Enzo out of the blue and saying, you know, how you doing, and giving him that, you know, a bit of a sexual look, I guess you could say. Yeah, where the hell did this come from? And what an odd pairing that would be. But I don't know. Let's see it happen. Let's see it happen, and let's see what these two can do, if there's any chemistry there, how they pair up as a couple, or whatever they're going to do. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think Enzo should be a bit of a ladies' man. In reality, I think Enzo having some women come after him, I think is probably the right fit for his character. If he talks about how rich he is and how popular he is and all the money, the money he's got, all the clothes he wears, these types of things, he probably should be attracting women to him, and the confidence that he has and just the way he goes about himself. So having women associated with Enzo may not be such a bad idea. And I don't know if Nia Jax is the right person, but that's kind of very left field. But certainly a woman in Enzo is not a bad idea. And look, we saw Carmella with Enzo and Cass, in NXT, and that was fine. So it definitely is not foreign for Enzo to have a woman by his side. I think it's better than probably the Zoe Train. I think there's too many guys in the Zoe Train. I think the only guy in the Zoe Train that really makes it work is Drew Gulak. I think him and Enzo is a great pairing. I like that. But other than that, yeah, the other guys are a little bit vanilla and a little bit boring. There's not a lot to them. But the Cruiserweights did have a good match this week. I actually really enjoyed the match that they had. They had some nice moves, some big spots off the top. They did, I don't know what that move was called, but Mustafa Ali doing it was pretty sick. Got a good reaction. They actually got a reaction out of the crowd. The crowd enjoyed it. So that's the type of match that we probably want to see from the Cruiserweights a little bit more. And now there's some rumors going around that this might even be confirmed, that 205 Live, I think they are confirmed, that they will be doing house shows, 205 Live house shows, which, in my opinion, I can't see anybody who'd want to pay to go and see that. Now, they are doing it in smaller buildings, but if this is the case, then I think you may see in the next few weeks of Raw them trying to really up the ante and really have some better matches out of the 205 Live roster and the Cruiserweights on Raw, because if they don't, then who the hell would ever be interested in this? And also, as we said last week on the show, we talked about the 205 Live survey. Is this going to be the end of 205 Live soon? Maybe they're trying to let these guys have a bit more freedom, do a little bit more, and have some better matches to try and save the brand. Maybe their feedback is we just need better matches. I don't know. But this week they tried to do a little bit there. And look, doing the 2 fatal 4-ways leading to the number one contendership match, I think is a good move. I think that's a good move. It's given a chance to showcase 8 guys in the Cruiserweights, and then the 2 main guys they're looking at, and they can go from there. So I like it. I do like it, but still a lot more work to be done for the Cruiserweights. One good match isn't going to help anything really, but more matches like this, and the more we're going to see people react, because for the Cruiserweights, it's never really going to be the characters, I think, to get over. It's going to be the moves, the performances, the matches at the end of the day, because these guys don't have the ability really to get their characters over. They more have the ability to get their matches over. So they're going to rely on in-ring performances to get good results and to get popularity, and they're going to need to really start to improve their in-ring matches, because apart from this, there hasn't been a match for a while in the Cruiserweights that has been all that great. So they need to do more of this. Speaking of matches, we saw Paige. She's coming back, and she did come back for her first match against Sasha Banks. I thought Paige was a bit sloppy. I mean, she botched that powerbomb off the top, or with a sunset flip, whatever she was trying to do. She botched that. Sasha had a harsh landing. Seemed to be okay, though. Yeah, Paige looked a bit rusty, and you can understand why. It's been a long time since she's had a TV match. I'm sure she's done some Performance Center stuff or maybe some house shows, but it's been a long time for Paige, so it's good to see her back and everything, but it's going to definitely take her some time to get back to where she kind of was. Her group members, Sonya Deville and Mandi Rose, not a lot to really say about them yet. We haven't seen too much. I think Mandi may, as we said, probably be the breakout star of the group. Sonya hasn't shown a lot yet. Mandi's shown that she can cut an okay promo. Paige's promos haven't been amazing. Just overall, the group has been a little bit underwhelming. I can't really say the SmackDown group's been much better. Ruby Riott, she's been good. I think Ruby Riott's been the standout of her group. Liv Morgan, wow, she is very, very pretty. I definitely think her as a babyface, as a blonde, could really appeal to every sector of the audience, really. She's beautiful, but the only problem is can her ring work back it up? I don't know. I don't know if her mic skills can back it up. So she's got, the looks down packed, obviously, which is a major, whether you like it or not, it's a major thing in the WWE. If you don't have the looks, very, very difficult to get yourself involved. And look, Ruby Riott, I don't think she's the most attractive woman in the world, sorry to say, but she's got herself a nice spot at the moment. So it is possible, definitely, but someone like Liv Morgan, I think, could get some extra opportunities because she has that look that is really marketable, and she might really appeal to the teenagers, but also the young adults. And look, we'll see. But Sarah Logan, with the southern accent, I mean, that's always going to be a disadvantage for the get-go, in my opinion. I don't know. I just feel like the WWE has never really been, big fans of the South in terms of their characters and the way they treat them. So if this stable does, go downhill and they do split it up, wouldn't shock me if she gets some kind of Southern gimmick, which would be detrimental. I just don't know if Sarah's really ready for the main roster yet. I think they've called her up too soon. I think she needed some time in NXT. But they needed to fill a spot, and fortunately she's got that spot for herself. But it could leave her exposed if they do, have her have singles matches out there or long promos, things like that. So short and sweet, I think, for Sarah right now, while she gains some confidence and establishes herself on the main roster. And that's what house shows are for. It's certainly what house shows are for. But, so that will close out the Raw discussion. Overall, it was another okay show. Nothing too special, nothing too major. Just, so-so show. Obviously, the highlight being Matt Hardy and becoming Woken. Not a lot to really say about SmackDown either. We saw Rusev and Aiden English. They're involved in the Fatal 4-Way Championship match now. That's official. I like these two teaming up. It's something for both to do. Because let's be honest, what else would Aiden English do? Would he get a push on his own? I don't think so. What else would Rusev do? Would he get a push on his own? I like to think so, but I don't think he would. So this gives them both something to do. The Rusev Day thing, I don't mind it. It's okay, and it's something for both guys to do. They're involved in the tag title match, which also makes it a little bit more different, and not just the New Day and Usos excuse for another match just by adding in Shelton and Gable. So it seems like a legit match, and I feel like I think I heard them saying they're going to have all four guys in the ring at the one time, and you can only tag in your partners. So if that's true, that's amazing, because to me that's a fatal 4-way tag title match. The whole 2 in the ring, and then you can tag your opponents or you tag in your partner. I think that is ludicrous. I never understood that. I still don't. Why is that a thing? If it's a fatal 4-way in a tag match, then you should have every single one member of each team in the ring, and you can tag in your tag team partner only. Yes, it's chaotic, but it'd be a lot of fun and much better than watching just a standard tag match, but a couple extra teams to tag in. So if they actually are doing that, that's great. I'm really happy about that, because that's what I've been wanting to see for a while. I hate their version of the fatal 4-way tag. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense. Dolph Ziggler has also been added to a Baron Corbin and Bobby Roode US Championship match to make it a triple threat. We thought it would be singles, but it turns out it's going to be triple threat. I guess, does this help? I think this is a way for Ziggler to take the pin and Baron Corbin to keep the title without Bobby Roode losing, and to set up for another rematch down the line, probably at the Rumble or on a SmackDown. So this is a way to prolong the feud a little bit further, give Ziggler something to do. Ziggler and Roode's been having a rivalry, so it does make sense. But Ziggler hasn't exactly done anything to really earn himself a spot in this match, other than the fact that he's, his career history. But sometimes that isn't enough. But so he's in, and they've added it to be a triple threat, which might help the match, I think. And Roode and Corbin on their own, I don't know. That could have been a disaster. Added Ziggler, at least maybe a little bit of excitement there, I think. Nakamura, he'll also be teaming with Randy Orton to take on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Clash of Champions. The stipulation is if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lose, they'll get fired. Now, this is interesting. I mean, you'd have to say right from the get-go that Zayn and Owens will win so they don't get fired. But also, I think there's a possibility that Nakamura and Orton will win. And it'll mean that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens should be getting fired, going to get fired, but Daniel Bryan might shut it down from happening, creating more dissension between Bryan and Shane. I think that's probably where they'll go. Daniel Bryan can't exactly be happy with that stipulation, considering he hasn't wanted to fire Zayn and Owens. So in storyline, you'd have to expect something between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon to take place. They just can't have Zayn and Owens get fired, because if that happens, realistically, just think about it. Why would SmackDown get rid of two of their best names and not replace them for anybody? It wouldn't make any storyline sense. If you're going to get rid of them, you'd make a trade. At least you get two guys back. At least that's what I would do. So, if they did fire them, then it would make Daniel Bryan look like a shitty GM. So, I don't know. I think they'll stay in some capacity. I think Orton and Nakamura might win, but Daniel Bryan might stop Zayn and Owens from getting fired some way, or do something. What is that? I don't know, but try and shut it down from happening. But that's your SmackDown and Raw recaps there. Not a lot really happening. Again, a couple little tidbits, but again, we still are just moving into the down period whilst we are waiting for the Rumble time to kind of kick up and come around. And I guess speaking of the Rumble, any early predictions? I don't know. It's hard to kind of predict. I mean, depends what they're going to do. Will they go and keep AJ Styles with the belt, giving Nakamura the Rumble win? I doubt it. You look at the Rumble in previous years, it's been the big established names that have won it. Your Cena's, Triple H, Reigns, Batista, Orton. Those types of guys have won it. So, will they give a new guy the big win and try and really put him over big time? I like to say yes. To me, I would love to see Braun Strowman win it and take on Lesnar for the belt at WrestleMania. I don't see that happening, but I would love to see it. But if the plan is Reigns and Lesnar, then you'd have to think Reigns won't win the Rumble. At least we hope so. And they'll have that match organically somehow. And it would mean SmackDown will probably win the Rumble some way and have, I don't think they have the option to change brands. They didn't do that last year. I'd like to see it happen again because, obviously we think of Batista, and Eric Bischoff in the ring with Teddy Long. Which brand's he going to go to? We all think he might be going to SmackDown, but then he changes his mind. He's staying on Raw. That epic moment, and we could create something like that again. But they haven't gone with that. So I guess my early prediction, I might say Nakamura if they want to do AJ and Shinsuke, which would obviously be a great match, terrific match. And I think the fans would love to see that for WrestleMania. But anyone else? I mean, I don't even know if AJ's going to still be champ. I think Jinder has a chance to win it back, which would be a big mistake. Please, I really hope not. But hard to say. The Rumble could be hard to pick this year with a few potential candidates, which is always good. We always want to see some potential candidates. We don't want to see that, we know this guy's winning the Rumble type of situation. One more news tidbit on wrestling. Well, not really news, but I wanted to kind of mention this. So if you are a fan of indie wrestling, House of Hardcore, Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore, is now on Twitch. Something we've, you might be aware of, but I've recently gone ahead and checked out the Twitch channel today, and they've got about 4 or 5 episodes of House of Hardcore TV, which is about, generally 15 to 30 minutes. The first few are 15, and then the next few are kind of longer because they have an old school match on the shows. But it kind of gives you a bit of a recap of what's been going on in House of Hardcore, gives you, a bit of an idea of the storylines that they're doing, lots of promos from all the wrestlers about the upcoming shows, and then, of course, they do stream their shows on Twitch Live. So, yeah, so if you're looking for something extra to watch in terms of wrestling, I think this is cool. I think this is, it has an ECW feel to it. I think that's obviously the plan for it. And it is, it doesn't have the high budget of WWE or TNA or whatever, but it's made with love. And I've seen House of Hardcore, one of their house shows when they came to Australia earlier this year, and it was a terrific show. It was great. Considering the talent they had, they really made the best out of the show, and they really did a great show. It's intimate, it's fun to watch, and now you can watch it on Twitch whenever you want as well. So if you miss the pay-per-view, you can watch it, or the event, you can watch it on Twitch afterwards. So I highly recommend it. I haven't been, this is not an ad or a paid promotion or anything like that. I just think House of Hardcore is cool. I just think House of Hardcore, if I'm going to watch an indie show, I'll probably go with them because they always have some good names. You know, Austin Aries is now wrestling on their shows. Joey Mercury's now with them. MVP and Carlito have been doing there. You know, they've even got, the Squad World or the Spirit Squad. They're doing their thing there. So there's a few things that I really like that they're doing there. And obviously Tommy Dreamer's wrestling as well. They've had a lot of names come through. So if you're looking for an indie show to watch, that's not, Ring of Honor or PWG or something, House of Hardcore is a little bit different. And I think it's more up my alley. More if you like ECW, I think that's definitely what you're gonna enjoy there. So check that out. Twitch.tv/House of Hardcore, I think. If not, just search House of Hardcore on Google. I'm sure you'll find it. It's on their website. All right, with that being said, let's get into the questions. Obviously, no gaming segment this week. Didn't really play any games this week, other than really a lot of TEW. Haven't had a chance to kind of play any other new games. So no kind of gaming reviews this week, unfortunately, and probably no gaming rants, unless we want to get into more microtransaction talk, but I don't know. We'll see. But let's get into some questions for this week's show. Okay, so of course, if you do want to leave a question for next week's show, you can do so via a comment in the YouTube comment section down below. So if you've got anything you want to ask me, leave one there. Also on our Facebook page, BrendenPlayz is the Facebook name, facebook.com/BrendenPlayz. And we usually post up the Facebook post after SmackDown or thereabouts. So keep an eye out for that. So leave a like on the Facebook page and make sure that you check that out on those days so you can get your question in. Of course, you can also leave a question on the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums, and you can join up there for free to discuss everything in wrestling. We have a lot of Raw and SmackDown discussions, pay-per-view discussions, all the news discussions. Everything's happening over there, and of course on our Discord chat as well. So if you want to join the Discord chat, the link is on the forums. So join up, and you can chat to me and chat to many other wrestling fans as well. Lots of fun to be had there. Okay, so first question, let's get into it. This one's from Brian Ernie. What is your favorite music to listen to? I'm a metal and rock type of guy, so I like a little bit of rap on the side. I mean, some artists I do like, but rap for me right now is kind of really hit and miss. There's not a lot that I really like out there, so it's kind of really just metal at the moment. And look, I like anything that's good. Like I can listen to mainstream pop music. Who do we see right now? I mean, like, I don't know. I hear Ed Sheeran all the time on the radio, for example. And I can listen to a couple of his songs and they're fine. So there's not a specific genre that I just stick to all the time. But mainly, if you had to ask me, I'll stick to rock and metal mainly. In terms of artists, well, I guess one example is earlier this year, a couple of months ago, I went and saw Stone Sour in concert, and they were terrific. So that, of course, that's Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and I love Slipknot. So I like Nothing More. Their new album's fantastic. If you haven't heard Nothing More, their new album's really, really good. So a little bit different as well. So there's lots of different music. I'm very open book, but I know what I kind of like and know what I don't like. So a lot of music that we hear nowadays on the radio, I really don't like. So I kind of steer clear from that for the most part. Next one is coming from Aaron Jordan. Do you watch any other people's Universe Mode videos? No, I don't. Look, I consume a lot of WWE as it is. I watch Raw, SmackDown every week. Sometimes I'll get the network up and watch an old stuff, old show, old pay-per-view. And then on top of that, I'm playing TEW. I am making Universe Mode videos. I'm doing a podcast right now about WWE. I consume so much WWE. And in terms of WWE2K, I play so much of it, making my own videos and spend so much time on my own videos. And I'm so consumed into my own Universe Mode that I possibly could not get into another Universe Mode if I wanted to. But to me personally, Universe Mode videos has never appealed to me as a viewer. As a creator, I've always fancied Universe Mode videos. I've always enjoyed it. I always liked the idea of doing it. But as a viewer, I've never enjoyed it. I've always hated the fact that whenever you watch someone's universe mode, they'll start a brand new one when the new game comes out, and you have to kind of reset and go again. It doesn't have any history or any real good in-depth storylines, or if there is real good in-depth storylines, sometimes it's over the top, a bit too much, you know, and or they take too long to get the episodes out or something like that. Whereas my universe mode, you know, we get an episode every second day nearly. Well, I'll try to. We've got 4 games worth of history, 4 years worth of history in there, and I know every little detail in and out for the most part. Sometimes I forget, you know, some things, but for the most part, I know what's happened throughout my universe. But I'm just so immersed into it that I love it so much that I just possibly, even if I wanted to, couldn't get into anyone else's universe mode videos. And look, I'd much rather go and watch something else, anyways. Because I'm just so consumed with so much WWE as it is. Another one from Aaron. He says, if 2K19 were to have microtransactions, what would that mean for your universe mode come the game's release? Well, depends what actually is in the microtransaction. Now, I don't even know if I will be doing a 2K19 universe mode. That's still up in the air. Still debatable. It's hard to say at this point. I'd like to say yes, I will be, but I don't know. But in terms of 2K19, if they have microtransactions, for example, you have to pay a few dollars to unlock some characters or some attires or something like that. It wouldn't be ideal. It would suck, honestly. But look, let's say, for example, this is an example of microtransactions that I'm in support of. So let's say we just had Survivor Series in real life WWE. WWE 2K releases a Survivor Series attire pack. You know, some of the bigger names, maybe they you know, charge $10 or something, you know, $5 to $10, preferably $5, but you know, $5 to $10 for maybe 10 attires that featured at Survivor Series. So the main superstars that are involved, you know, maybe Triple H, John Cena's new attire, you know, whoever else was on there, you know, Randy Orton, whatever, those types of guys, the bigger names. Whoever has new and exciting attires, they release a pack that may cost you $5 to $10, whatever, and you can purchase that and you can unlock all those attires as alternate attires. Boom, straight in, away you go. Those types of microtransactions I'm in favor of, because it doesn't give you any advantage over anyone else. It doesn't marginalize you or anybody. It just gives you extra content, cosmetic content that you will enjoy that little bit more on your game if you have. You know, for me personally, I love to have new attires all the time, and I think this is where WWE is missing a trick. So if I could pay a little bit of money, because, you know, I make universe mode videos, you know, I guess it's a part-time living, so it's important to me to have these attires, I'd pay for it, and use these attires in my game. Now, if they did a monthly update, think of all the revenue they could make, you know, and also would keep their player base coming back. So this is an example of what I think what 2K is truly missing. And if I'm running 2K, you know, and looking at WWE, how can I make more money, more revenue out of WWE games? How can I also give the fans more content other than just wrestlers in a DLC pack? This is the one that I'm looking at. And you know, I know there's people that play this game all the time that would purchase those packs, and even if there isn't a lot, I guess it probably wouldn't cost all that much to really make. It's just an attire at the end of the day. And yes, you could say, well, hey, we could just download the attire in Community Creations, but it's always better when 2K makes them themselves. It's more official. So, yeah, I would just much rather them do something like that. Microtransactions to unlock, let's say, you know, let's say Andrade Cien Almas, he's available, but you have to pay $5 to get him. That would kind of be shitty. Like, he's there on release day, but if you want him, you got to pay $5 for a microtransaction. That would be kind of shitty, but we already kind of do that now with DLC. But it's a little bit different, I suppose, in terms of it's not content available made straight away, or microtransaction as in you can get a 10 plus boost to all of your attributes when playing online for 5 matches if you pay $5. That type of crap where it gives you an advantage over anyone else is ridiculous. I don't want to see that. I don't know what they would do for Universe Mode in terms of microtransactions. I mean, maybe you have to pay to unlock certain championship belts or something like that. Just locking content and making you pay money to unlock it. That would be really shitty. I wouldn't like that. But I think, like I said, transactions where for 6 months they update the game, giving you new attires, new cosmetic features. Maybe you can unlock new things to put on your own custom creator wrestlers. If you through microtransactions, things like that. Unlocking cosmetic content through transactions, I think, is okay, and I wouldn't be against that. In fact, I'd be in favor of that, because at the moment we don't get any of that, which would mean we would start getting that, and I'd rather have that than not have that at all. So if I have the chance to get 10 new attires or 5 new attires, whatever it is, $1 attire, I'll pay. I'll buy it. I'll do that, because to me, that's worth the price. Cameron Fox, do you think it's too late for the broken character for Matt Hardy to get over? We kind of talked about it last week, but I don't think it is too late. I think with the reaction he got this week on Raw, I think the fans are willing to give it a chance. I think Vince McMahon is willing to give it a chance. So if you've got the machine behind it, if the fans are interested, it's never too late. When it's the fans don't give a shit and then the WWE don't care, that's when it has no chance. But from what we've seen so far, the machine is behind it a little bit. I'm sure there'll be a new shirt coming out soon, more merchandise for Matt, more TV time for Matt. It's just a matter of, can he get it over in the ring? Will he get the vignettes and the backstage stuff to help get it over that little bit further? Will he have the creative freedom? Apparently he will. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's not too late. If they had waited until WrestleMania time, I think probably would have been too late. But it's probably at the last real opportunity right now. If any longer, I think it probably would have really suffered and probably wouldn't have worked at all. This one's from Thomas Speller. This one's regarding the podcast itself. He wants to know, do you choose the questions before the podcast or have them out in front of you at the time? No, what I do is I go ahead and I'll read all the questions on the episode. I'll screen grab the ones that I think I've got an opinion on, that I have something to talk to. There's a few, we get questions all the time, and I'm not saying this is a bad question, from Adam Lawton. He says, if you could book 5 matches leading up to WrestleMania, what would they be and how would you book them? Those are questions that require, a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, and we just don't have the time on the podcast to kind of answer that really long question. Could I say 5 matches that I would be interested in seeing? Yeah, I mean, we could say I would like to see Lesnar and Strowman again. I would like to see Bobby Roode and Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, those types of matches. I could say that, but in saying how would I book them would take a lot more time. So normally I don't probably answer those types of questions because it just takes so much time. But for the most part, any question that I've got an opinion on, I will try and answer. Or it depends, on the time available as well. Another one from Thomas. His question is, what are your thoughts on WWE wanting to have Goldberg return and face Batista at WrestleMania 34? I haven't heard anything about this, Thomas, so I don't know where you've heard this rumor, but I haven't heard it. Look, Goldberg and Batista, I think, is a match that probably nobody really wants to see, unfortunately. 10 years ago, this match would have been awesome, but in this day and age, I don't think is a match that really needs to happen. I think Batista and Brock Lesnar would be better because we have never seen it before. But Goldberg and Batista is certainly a match that even I, as a huge Batista fan, and I like Goldberg, I probably wouldn't really care all that much for it. I'd rather see something else. So, another question from Cameron Fox. Do you change the rating on 2K18 of the wrestlers to your liking? Yeah, I do. So, when I got 2K18, I spent the first couple of hours streaming it, and on that stream I showed me editing all the ratings for all the wrestlers to suit my personal opinion and how I view them as a Universe Mode superstar. So, for example, Kevin Owens has had so much success. He had a year where he dominated, same with Finn Balor. Those guys, their ratings went up to, low to mid-90s. They really had huge ratings. Whereas, Baron Corbin hasn't, he's been okay, but not a lot of wins, so he'd probably be late 70s, early 80s, for example. So I kind of look at them and view them how I would see them in my universe mode, and their ability, where they're out in the card, their status, and give an opinion and their rating based on that. This one's from Adam Lawton. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on the WWE bringing back The Undertaker for another match? I don't think you can do it. You know, the send-off they gave him at WrestleMania was too good. It was too perfect. For them to bring him back for another one would just really throw it all away. And Undertaker did not look good at WrestleMania, so I don't think I really want to see him wrestle again. I love Undertaker. He's probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, but at WrestleMania, it was almost... I was more in fear for Undertaker. When you get to the point where you're worried about Undertaker taking a bad bump, or you're worried about Undertaker's health when you're watching it, you can't enjoy the match. And it's getting to that point. You know, I'm worried about the Undertaker wrestling. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to, you know, to get dropped on his head or something like that. I don't want that to happen. Whereas I can't watch the Undertaker and go, man, the Undertaker's a badass. He's kicking Roman Reigns' ass right now. Come on, Taker. And I can't get into it like that. I'm just more so watching and out of fear. I don't want to do that. I don't think any fan should have to do that. And that's all we have time for this edition of the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening in to another edition of the show. As I said, if you want to leave a question for next week's episode, you can do so via the comments of the YouTube section and the comment section down below, and of course on the Facebook page or the forums. And keep an eye out for more streams. I'll definitely be streaming this weekend, Total Extreme Wrestling. I'll try and find a time, so if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at BrendenPlayz, so you make sure you don't miss any TW streams, but I also will put them as an event on my YouTube channel. So if you click on your subscription box, it'll show up as, hey, BrendenPlayz is streaming at 12 o'clock, and you can, you know, get yourself ready for that and put that in your, well, in your planner. You know that I'm streaming for that at that time. So I'll try and do that in advance so you have an idea. But I'll try and find a time where everybody can kind of tune in. So I might have to do an early morning stream on Saturday or something like that, so everyone can kind of come along and join the stream. So hopefully we can get a big one in, and hopefully you guys will come along into it. But I would dare say we might do another stream tomorrow. So same time that we've been doing over the last few days. So probably in the afternoon or in the morning if you're in the US. So unfortunately, probably not a great time for you guys. But as always, they'll be available to watch once the stream is finished. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you can, leave a like on this episode, share it around to your friends, encourage them to come along and listen to the show, and if you haven't already, subscribe, because you don't want to miss what is to come. Big month coming up here on the channel, lots of new and exciting stuff, and I hope you can join me for it. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening in. I'll see you all next Thursday.